That's not what sex looks like, right? Well, for a long time, Bollywood has shied away from showing any real, candid representations of sex. Instead, it has a long history of passing off violence, assault, and rape as romantic entertainment. So, how does that shape our understanding of sex, or rape, or even consent? Sex is still taboo across most of Indian society, even if it wasn't always this way. Early Indian culture was actually pretty sexually progressive, but then colonization happened. Mixed with religion and nationalism, sex slowly became something dishonorable or wrong. You couldn't talk about it in public, so you couldn't talk about it on the big screen either. And the aggressive censor board made sure of that. It was impossible for Bollywood movies to show any explicit nudity or sex scenes or even a kissing scene. But sex sells, and the industry knew that. So Bollywood filmmakers got creative with it. They began to allude to sex without showing anything explicitly, using visual metaphors or subtle song lyrics. Yeah, Namak Ishqa is a song about oral sex. Item numbers actually became a thing as early as the 1930s. Before they were this hugely popular trend appearing in almost every movie, they were actually a form of escapist cinema for presumably mostly male audiences. Movies were the only openly available source for anything sexual. There was no internet or porn back then. But in the 80s, the Indian film industry experienced a decline because the market for home videos was booming. Filmmakers had to find a way to revive it, and just alluding to sex wasn't going to cut it. So according to film scholar Kush Varya, the industry started serving these male audiences with scenes and plot lines meant to satisfy their perverse pleasures. Sex couldn't technically be shown as a positive thing because honor. So it had to be shown in a negative context. And one really easy way to show sex as bad was through rape or sexual assault, which is probably why such scenes were so popular in movies from the 70s to the 90s. Historian SMM Osaja agreed. He said rape scenes were used more for their item value than a necessity of the script. So, unsurprisingly, they were pretty formulaic. Evil villain rapes helpless damsel who is saved by the self-righteous hero. The honor of the family has been protected. Who cares about the woman, right? Take the scene in Mulzim, for instance. The moment Ranjit starts to rape the woman, the hero dramatically jumps in to save her. What follows is a long fight sequence between the two actors, and the rape is forgotten entirely. The woman is considered the man's property, so her rape is really a question of his honor and not much else. Like in Bhagyavan, which really exemplifies how insignificant the woman and her experience are.
तुम्हारी हवेली में मेरी बहन अपनी मेहनत बेचने आई थी, इज्जत नहीं, तुम्हें मेरी बहन के साथ शादी करनी होगी.
Marry her after the rapist, problem solved. Not only were these tropes constantly depicted on screen, but actors like Shakti Kapoor and Ranjit became famous for their roles as rapists, having appeared in countless rape scenes throughout their careers. They were hailed as cool and macho and idolized by their fans, as is the case with most celebrities in India, according to filmmaker Farooq Dondi. And if the audience revered the man glorifying rape on screen, that's a pretty big problem. In some cases, rape scenes were entirely about the audience getting pleasure from the domination of women, especially if the actress was also famous. Like in Zakhmi Aurat, which had a really disturbing rape scene with Dimple that lasted over 7 minutes. The more she resisted, the more effort he had to put in to overpower her. And the greater was his prize. And honestly, also the greater his appeal as an actor. More violence, even if it was exaggerated, tended to make the rape scene more exciting. Given the influence that Bollywood has, that's a dangerous precedent to be setting. Other times, the woman being raped was shown as teasing the man, showing the scene in a very casual, almost comedic light. Like in this scene from Tohfa.
मैं तुम्हारे साथ बलात्कार करूंगा, तुम्हारी इज्जत को लूट लूंगा. हाय, तो लूटो ना.
Or this song where Madhuri Dixit is basically describing how she was raped in a field. But it's fine because she was singing and dancing. This study actually shows that almost 70% of sexual violence in movies in the late 90s was shown as fun, which showed a very flawed idea of consent. After the 90s, these kind of rape scenes gradually went away from mainstream Bollywood because other mediums became popular. But they were replaced by subtler forms of rape culture, including careless jokes about rape.
इस कॉलेज में बलात्कार पे बलात्कार किए.
And a lot of the same ambiguity around consent. So it makes sense that so many Indians think stalking and eve-teasing is completely acceptable, both in movies and in real life. In fact, this new "man doesn't take no for an answer" became the next big Bollywood formula. And it continues to normalize sexist behavior every day. While historian SMM Osuja said that it's not fair to solely blame cinema for influencing young minds, Samir Parekh, the director of mental health and behavioral sciences at Fortis, said that it is scientifically proven that watching aggression increases the tendency towards that behavior. This is not a new debate. Does Bollywood shape behavior or simply mimic it? Let's take the example of Grand Masti. When it released, it got a lot of criticism for its problematic and sexist tropes, but it was still a huge hit. Actor Vivek Oberoi said, "This film is not meant to teach moral values. It is an entertaining film and not meant to be taken seriously. Don't make such a big issue about anything." That's a convenient way to avoid taking responsibility, because the truth is that it is a big issue. The National Crime Records Bureau reported that 4 women are raped every hour in India. 4 women every hour. That is a staggering number. And while many of the movies we've discussed do have loose, overarching morals where the rapists are supposed to be bad, they are quite forgiving of men who violate, stalk, and harass women. Journalist and author Deepanjana Pal said it perfectly. We've practically internalized the degradation of women, which is why when it appears in comedies like Grand Masti, people laugh it off and enjoy it without actually processing that this has an effect and reflection in real life. After the internationally shocking Nirbhaya rape case of 2012, some movies like Matra, Pink, and Mom did do it right. Rape was not trivialized and sexual violence was treated sensitively. But these films never became nearly as successful as the ones that capitalized on sexist tropes. Not to mention that many of the rape scenes we've discussed still have thousands, if not millions of views on YouTube as of October 2019. Off-screen, actors outed for sexual harassment and assault are still revered. Many of the problematic things they've said are simply shrugged off as meaningless. Most bear no consequences for their real-life actions because of the respect that they gain on screen. Even if these facts don't automatically and directly impact behavior, they do shape the culture that we live in. They lead to the persistent misogyny in the industry and beyond. Even in 2019, when these issues and movements like Me Too are more widely talked about than ever before, pop culture and the Bollywood industry still have a very long way to go.